Had a great hunting trip with me, him, and Austin. And he said, I'm going to come over and see you this weekend. I said, okay, I look forward to it. And he said, I love you, Dad. I said, I love you too, son. Those were the last words I ever heard from him.
We were just one person. We did everything the same. We were just exactly alike. Like we had a couple of differences, but most of the stuff we did together, the stuff we had, it's just we felt as one person. So it's just like we just connected so well in everything we did.
His commitment, his work ethic was about football. The boy stayed in the gym. The boy led the team. He was the leader. He was the glue. He was the driving force of that defense. He carried that team.
Every time we go to the gym, I get stronger, I get better, I get faster. I got an accomplishment in the weight room for football, and Austin's smile just popped up. He was just so proud of me. He just gave me the biggest hug.
He was on his way to becoming a super positive impact in this world. It's not right. You should never bury your children. It's a very unfortunate, tragic outcome, not only for this family, but I feel for the family of the assailant because his life is over.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Nerd Chronicles with your host, the socially awkward nerd Christian Paul speaking. And ladies and gentlemen, I don't come in. I come with very, very somber news. I took a moment to read up into the situation involving Austin Metcalf and Carmelo Anthony with AK. Not the Carmelo Anthony you see in the NBA, or not the NBA Hall of Famer Carmelo Anthony, the four-time Olympic gold medalist Carmelo Anthony, Denver Nugget, New York Knicks faithful, NCAA champion with the Syracuse Orange up in 2004, right? Not that Carmelo with a C, not him. 17-year-old Carmelo with a K, Anthony, right? He has been charged with murder for the tragic unaliving of 17-year-old Austin Metcalf due to a bullying situation. And before I go forward in that story, in regards with that, I do want to give my condolences to all of the families that were affected by this senseless tragedy. I do want to give my condolences out to the family as well as Carmelo, and as well as definitely the family in regards of this tragedy of the situation, on how their family has been affected in regards with Carmelo's actions at that time, as well as the family of Mr. Austin Metcalf, who lost a loved one, unfortunately, in regards to that senseless tragedy. And the reason why I call it senseless is because all of this could have easily been avoided. Based on the story that I was hearing, and all of this, let me be clear, all of this is very alleged. A lot of it is actually still grainy. So many moving parts actually still coming alive as the days go on in regards with this case, in regards with this story. So allegedly, there were some issues with Carmelo not being in attendance, basically from one viewpoint. And that's probably what led him coming by and stabbing Austin with the knife. Another angle actually shows Carmelo being in a track meet tent while he was preparing for a track meet up at the Dallas area high school. And two of the boys that are not part of the track team, two of the Metcalf twins, Austin and his twin, they came by and they started bullying Carmelo, okay? And Carmelo allegedly says, touch me, see what happens. And definitely Austin and the twin touched him first. And hell has mainly broken loose. Punches were being thrown. He's literally been slaughtered and literally been cornered by two twins dealing with a 2-on-1 situation. How the knife got there, we don't know. We don't know if Carmelo actually brought the knife to the meet. We do not know about that either. So much speculation. The knife was definitely found, definitely within the school grounds for sure. So Carmelo allegedly used that knife and actually stabbed Austin in the center right in front of him by self-defense, and unfortunately, that's basically how Austin has tragically passed away. Karmelo actually admitted to actually stabbing him up in the chest, and he specifically asked police officer, did the person die, and did they say yes? He, based on what Karmelo responded, he did not expect to die. He was actually trying to stab Karmelo inside just to try and make sure they stop pounding on him. You know what I mean? Just to mainly defend himself. And again, all of that stuff is mainly alleged. All right? There's so many moving parts that's actually gone in between all of this. You know, I do feel for both families involved. There's definitely video that actually shows all the evidence that actually mainly went down, but unfortunately, due to Texas law, it cannot be released down to the public due to the fact that all the people involved are minors. That's why it cannot be released under state law of Texas. All right, so that's understandable. It makes perfect sense. All we have to do is mainly let the case play itself out and see what really, really goes on. All right. Now, here's my big issues that I mainly want to discuss in all of this. And I'm going to definitely do it in separate sections, okay? The first part is the security and definitely the oversight in regards to those students and attendance that took place in those meets at that particular high school. That's the first part I actually do want to discuss in this. And the second part is the selective outrage and the hypocrisy of a lot of the minded folks that are actually gung-ho in regards with Karmelo's give, send, go. Over an allegation, okay? Trial hasn't even been started yet, and I can understand why. You know, he has all that support given going on, you know, because there are cases like this that have been railroaded and rigged by judge, jury, you know, prosecutors, all them guys are definitely there. They can rig cases, so I can understand from that particular point. But it shows the hypocrisy when it comes to unstable people. And I do want to get much, much deeper into that, and I want to actually look into the tweets on what those unstable demons mainly had to say in regards to all of this. Now, one of the things that I do want to point out, and other people have mainly pointed out, and I do want to go deep into that specific topic, is why isn't there enough security to actually mediate the situation that came by on that track meet? And I do want to clarify, ladies and gentlemen, forgive me if I didn't actually speak on this earlier. It's a school-sanctioned event, but it's not on school grounds in which the whole incident took place. So it took place basically in like a public track and field park up in the Frisco area, in the Dallas area. That's basically where the whole thing mainly took place, ladies and gentlemen. So they said they didn't have any security around where the tents are at. And I know the school has the tents. And if I'm not mistaken, for what I was hearing, and this is what I heard, and this is all alleged, okay, I want to make this very, very clear, right? Karmelo, with a K, went to one of the tents for shelter to avoid the rain because he was attending one of his friends' meets at his school. And you see Austin Metcalf as well as his twin come by, allegedly acting like bullies, bullying him around, acting a fool, literally acting an ass. And this is all alleged, mind you. And whatever weapon he has, we don't know if it's an actual knife that actually came by or not. We'll definitely know as the case goes on, and we'll definitely know once the trial starts and once the trial mainly gets along. But why isn't there enough security involved to actually scope the area for potential weapons, number one? And why aren't there enough security to actually oversee all the tents all the way throughout the whole event, right? And we understand about the weather conditions on like how heavy rain and everything else. Why have the track mainly go by during the rain as well? They can actually allow to discuss that in the press conference. But why, if Austin, and again, God bless his soul, you know, you hate seeing someone lose their life over this. Had he been alive, right? Had he gone to a teacher or a coach or a security representative actually trying to have a situation and let people know, more than likely he still would have been alive today. If that's the case, right? If they were bullying him, like, why have an adult mainly mediate the situation, okay, and get everything resolved rather than literally trying to take matters into your own hands and probably bully somebody or actually throw hands or whatever it is? Why not have an adult mediate the situation? More than likely, he still would be alive today. You know what I'm saying? That's a big key point that I actually want to get into. And that's as far as I'm going to go through, to the fact that there's so much information that's coming in. Even after I record this video, more information will be coming out in regards to all the chaos that we see in this case. Now, let's look into all of these crazy ass tweets that's been going on by a lot of demons up on X. Ladies and gentlemen, what we have here is the give, send, go for the young Carmelo Anthony, right? And basically, word got out when they had the funds to actually help assist the family of Carmelo in regards to primarily legal defenses. And once word got out about like the deeper story, and based on the story that they've actually mainly heard and actually dug deeper into a situation in which Carmelo was trying to defend himself, you know, and again, all of this that we've been hearing, all this is allegations that will be proven in court. You know, barring any railroading, barring any rigging or anything like that, you know, as long as things are actually thoroughly done fairly, you know, that's definitely the most important. So I understand why there's so many people out here funding close to $500,000 and counting to help support Carmelo Anthony and his family. And to be honest, I gotta be fully honest with y'all. I have no problem. I have zero problem going on with this fund on whoever actually chooses to support Carmelo in regards to the situation. Why? I'm going to show you another give, send, go that mainly came about when it comes to this situation. All right, you remember this homeboy here, right? You remember this little homeboy that choked out a black homeless man up in the New York City streets, Long Island native, you know, came up from behind, choked them out. Mind you, the homeless person, you know, was emulating Michael Jackson on the subway, literally going off. This is being in like a little bit of a nuisance, but wasn't even fully threatening anybody, wasn't even using any weapons, wasn't even attacking people. He just came up in there, you know, choked them out from behind and had some assist as well, actually taking that homeless man out. And homeboy has been getting helped by having millions upon millions of dollars raised in regards to that. And he's still receiving money from Give, Send, Go today, right? So if he's continuing actually having all this legal protection in regards to the situation, I have no problem with what Carmelo Anthony's doing, what the family of Carmelo Anthony's doing, as well as the legal team trying to raise money for his support as well. But here's the problem that I mainly have. It's selective outrage that's been going on in which a lot of demons are very, very, very spooked. And when it comes to this whole ordeal, right? They're very spooked when it comes to that. They're spooked in regards to basically Carmelo having the strength and support of the people. All right, so basically what I'm looking at here is basically all of these X files, X usernames that, you know, people have been actually trying to make a mockery out of Carmelo. I look into the feed and you see, and I don't have a problem with people actually donating with Austin Metcalf's family as well. I have zero problem with that. I'm not upset with that either. But the outrage of just simply donating to a black family that's been overwhelmed, that could potentially be railroaded up in court, right? They have like a kangaroo court system, right? And basically a lot of people in the community mainly coming together right? Basically trying to hold the family down. Make sure the legal defenses are straight in the case that you try to pull some fast ones just to make sure that the trial is run fairly, right? Y'all seeing all this stuff that come by, and you got people that are actually black looking, but you have like demonic mindsets of all having selective outrage. Going all gun ho that Carmelo's family getting all this money, but y'all said nothing when it came to Daniel Penny. Y'all said nothing when it came to George Zimmerman. Y'all even said nothing when it came to Kyle Rittenhouse after he literally offed 2 white people of his own race. Okay? And y'all see some of this stuff. Y'all see some of the bias that's mainly coming on. And the moment that, they have certain evidence, they actually look into the people, they try to do everything they can to actually smear the people that are actually involved and post state criminal records just to immediately take the jury and actually try and rid the case altogether just to try and get himself a failure. This is something that I really do not like at all. It is just like some wicked, it's like you're dealing with demons that deal with like a culture of racism, okay? That deal with like a heavy culture that they don't even know how else to be. It is mainly sick up in the head. So unstable, so irrational. It's just not worth literally trying to dispute any logic toward them at all, because they're going to still be stuck to their ways because they don't know how else to be. And what's even crazier, okay, and what's even sick, you got Elon Musk. A lot of folks actually mainly be openly racist and act a fool, but then again, he has the same mindset as well. And you wonder why, not many people are actually supporting his brand of Teslas the way they do now. And you wonder why some of his stuff has mainly been set on fire. You wonder why? Huh?
And then I heard that. I kept hearing that. Here comes the fire department.
Y'all seeing all this, okay? I'm trying to look into all these people that are definitely there. And y'all seeing the rigging that's coming by with the judge. But yet, those white folks up at Kyle Rittenhouse, they didn't even attack him. He was the one actually being the main aggressor. And the dude was mainly finding the gun while he was actually attacking, literally trying to off somebody. Right? But, selective outrage 101, you got like a very, literally like a photo op picture, trying to smear Carmelo's name. But you got like some white folks actually held, like you got like the family of Metcalf literally holding guns as well. But we got some stuff that's even crazier as I look into all these tweets. And we got like another part of X here going berserk. Folks actually come by spewing out N-words, acting a fool. You know what I'm saying? Going mainly berserk as well. It is insane. Hardcore demons. A lot of them. And I tell y'all, man, I got something that's very, very worse by lame ass demons. And we got one trad wife here, mainly white, and mainly a demonic white supremacist, okay, that come by and saying, oh, this is why we used to hang ends, okay? Y'all are literally demonic. Y'all are sick. Y'all are evil to the core. But at least he's being fully honest. She can't help herself because deep down there who she is in her. It's not in her to be moral. It's not in her or in people like her to be rational, to actually be caring and actually be sensitive towards other groups of people. You know what I'm saying? But again, when Elon Musk allowed people like this to mainly act their true nature, okay, and literally act a fool and act demonic like this, with many of them supporting her, okay? you wonder why you have a lot of sick folks. You have a lot of sick demons up in this world. Another thing that I do want to point out is that although the father came by and actually tried to crash the Anthony's press conference recently, he sort of redeemed himself a bit by actually letting some hardcore white extremist leaders, white supremacist extremist leaders, not to use any of his son's name, image, likeness, or legacy to try and fuel their agendas.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Jake.
Hey, Jeff, it's Jake Lang here. Jeff, first of all, my entire heart rests in your hands. I would be in my position, not even as somebody even knew your son, but somebody that shares the same understanding. I grew up as a 17-year-old young white man too, and I grew up in fear of my life around black people because they were killing and robbing people around me all the time. And I don't understand as I was a father, you could sit idly by and not condemn the culture that killed your son. There is an epidemic problem in this country, and your voice could be one of the loudest voices in this country, but you have chosen to recoil out of fear and continue the suppression. Why will you not stand with me and with the rest of the people? We're not calling for racial divide. We're not calling for hatred. We're saying 350,000 attacks on white people by black people a year in this country is wrong. Why can't you stand that and say with that? Maybe you can. Would you be willing to stand by me in a press conference or in an individual interview and talk about this issue that is larger than Austin at this point? God rest the beautiful young man's soul that would have been one of our strongest voices if he was still alive today. Yes, I am, sir.
Okay, my turn to speak. You are part of the fucking problem, my friend. You're trying to create more race divide than bridging the gap. I do not condone anything you do. You do not have any fucking...
That's called white guilt.
No, let it talk.
But my son, let me finish. I give you your time. You take my son's face off your website. I am not associated with you.
You're creating more Austin Metcalfs with your weakness, sir. You are creating more Austin Metcalfs with your weakness.
Here, you are being weak. I gotta be honest with you about that, sir.
You're being weak. Condemn your son's killer and the culture that caused it.
I will give him credit for that, because at the end of the day, what a lot of these demons, okay, and any of those of any race that think the same way that they do, right, to uphold a little culture of deviltry that they mainly do, they do not give two fucks about Austin Metcalf's legacy. They clearly don't even care about Carmelo Anthony. They literally want to see him unalived at best, okay? They are using Austin Metcalf and his family, okay, just to fuel their wicked agendas, which is what we're seeing in real time, literally right now. And I do feel for all the families that have been strung up in this in regards to this crazy and saddening tragedy. Now, there's a lot to definitely unpack, and there's a lot of unraveling that's going to be going on in this case. So I do not want to try and jump the gun too far ahead, and rather let the situation play itself out and observe what folks are doing during the trial, and maybe try to analyze some stuff from there. But all I can say is, to all you youngins out there in high school, okay, I know this is a very, very tricky situation to actually deal with, and if it is proven true that Carmelo was out and he utilized self-defense by the night to actually have him stop, basically stop one of these attacks from attack him so that he doesn't get jumped, dealing with a 2-on-1. You know what I'm saying? It basically discusses more of an unfortunate repercussions of what happens when you mainly don't keep your hands to yourself, when you actually start fights and provoke fights and throw hands on other people, because you cannot anticipate. You don't know if some person has a weapon or not. You don't know how that person is going to react. And when you actually try and gang up on somebody and actually try and beat someone down, you do not know how that person is going to react. Don't automatically expect that they're going to bow down to you. You know what I'm saying? And if the other way came around and Karmelo was found guilty fairly, without any railroading, okay? If that's the case, you know, it is a lot of crazy consequences that can mainly combine when actually literally trying to stab somebody for no reason and they haven't even attacked you back, right? But again, this is all what ifs. If I actually go further into like both these scenarios, all I'm dealing with is mainly speculation, so I'll just mainly refrain at that point. All I can basically say is if you get yourself in like a heated situation, you know, do the best you can to actually try and get somebody involved to mediate the issue. If none is there, you know, self-defense is always the last resort. All right. And once again, I do want to give condolences to Austin Metcalf's family. And I want to give condolences to Carmelo Anthony's family because they do not deserve, neither of those families, let me be clear, neither of those families don't deserve the use and abuse and the humiliation and the trauma, unnecessary trauma, that they are dealing with outside the tragedy that's been going on weeks ago. I'm going to leave it at that.